Welcome to True Crime Case Files. Today, we unravel a chilling tale from the serene beaches of Hawaii. A newlywed's dream honeymoon turns into a nightmare when the bride mysteriously vanishes. In this episode, we dive deep into the disappearance of Christine Wiley, the investigation that followed, and the dark secrets that came to light. Christine Wiley was a 29-year-old woman with a passion for life and creativity. She was known for her bright smile and warm personality, always ready to make new friends and share her love of photography. Born and raised in Newport Beach, California, Christine went to Stanford where she honed her skills in photography. She had a knack for capturing beautiful moments and often posted her work on Instagram, where she had a growing following. Christine had a close-knit family. Her younger sister Miller was her best friend, and they shared many adventures together. Their parents were supportive and loving, always encouraging their daughters to follow their dreams. Christine often talked about her dream of starting a family and building a life filled with love and creativity. In July 2012, Christine had just married Rowan Wiley Jr., a charming and successful man from Houston. They chose the Hilton Maui Resort in Hawaii for their honeymoon, a place Christine had always wanted to visit. She was excited about the trip and shared her plans on Facebook, posting pictures of the resort and the beautiful Hawaiian scenery. Before her disappearance, Christine spent her days exploring the island, taking photographs of the beaches, sunsets, and tropical plants. She visited popular tourist spots like Haleakala National Park and the Road to Hana, documenting everything with her camera. She was also excited to try local foods, including poi bowls and shaved ice, and often talked about the delicious meals she had. Christine's friends described her as a vibrant and positive person. She had a talent for making people feel special and loved. Her Instagram stories were filled with messages of gratitude and joy, reflecting her optimistic and deeply spiritual outlook on life. She enjoyed reading, often sharing her thoughts on popular books of the time. She also loved listening to music and was a big fan of artists like Taylor Swift and Lana Del Rey. As Christine embarked on her honeymoon, she was full of hope and excitement for the future. She looked forward to building a life with Rowan, dreaming of a happy marriage and eventually starting a family. However, her dreams were tragically cut short, leaving her family and friends in deep sorrow and confusion. Christine's story is a reminder of the fragility of life and the importance of cherishing every moment. Her vibrant spirit and passion for life left a lasting impact on everyone who knew her. On July 12, 2012, Christine Wiley was last seen at the Hilton Maui Resort in Hawaii. The next morning, Jordan Jinahasa, a non-binary hotel staff member, noticed that Christine had missed several scheduled activities. Jordan, who had worked at the resort for over 5 years, found this unusual. Christine had been enthusiastic about the snorkeling trip and the luau dinner she had signed up for, sharing her excitement with Jordan just the day before. Concerned, Jordan knocked on the door of Christine's room. There was no answer. They waited for a moment, then knocked again, louder this time. Still, there was no response. Jordan decided to use a master key to enter the room, following hotel protocol for guest safety. Inside, the room was tidy, with no signs of a struggle. Christine's suitcase was still there, along with her camera and some clothes. However, Christine and her personal items, like her phone and purse, were missing. Feeling uneasy, Jordan reported Christine's absence to the hotel management. The manager on duty immediately took action. He called the local police and informed them about the missing guest. By this time it was late morning, and the sun was high in the sky, casting a bright light over the resort. The police arrived quickly, led by Officer Angeline Cutie Pie Martinez, a seasoned detective known for her thoroughness and attention to detail. She asked Jordan to describe what she had found, and then started a search of the area. The police questioned hotel staff and guests, hoping to find someone who had seen Christine. One guest, Jason Olamaneth, staying in the room next to Christine's, recalled hearing a loud argument from their room the previous night. He mentioned it to the police, adding that he had seen Rowan, Christine's husband, acting strangely afterward. Meanwhile, Christine's husband, Rowan Wiley, appeared distraught. He told the police he had woken up to find his wife missing and had been searching for her since early morning. His behavior seemed anxious, and he repeatedly insisted that Christine must have gone for an early morning swim and gotten lost. Despite an extensive search of the resort grounds and nearby beaches, Christine was nowhere to be found. The police broadened their search to the surrounding area, interviewing more witnesses and looking for any clues that might explain her sudden disappearance. As the hours turned into days, the mystery deepened. News of Christine's disappearance spread quickly, with local media covering the story. Friends and family from California flew in, desperate for answers. That Hilton Maui Resort, usually a place of joy and relaxation, became the center of a tense and heartbreaking investigation. The police arrived at the Hilton Maui Resort quickly on the morning of July 13, 2012. Leading the team was Detective Mark Proctor, a calm and meticulous investigator known for solving difficult cases. Officer Angeline QB Martinez, who was already on the scene, briefed him on what they had learned so far. They knew Christine Wiley had been missing for about 24 hours, and time was critical. The room Christine shared with her husband Rowan was their first stop. It looked tidy and undisturbed. The bed was neatly made, their luggage was in place, and nothing seemed out of order. But Detective Proctor noticed Christine's camera on the nightstand and her suitcase, partially unpacked. He also noted that some of her personal items, like her phone and purse, were missing, which was strange for someone who had supposedly just gone for a swim. The police used various tools to examine the room. They dusted for fingerprints, looking for any signs of a struggle or someone else's presence. They used luminol to check for traces of blood, but the tests came back clean. Proctor interviewed Rowan, who claimed he woke up to find his wife gone. His story seemed rehearsed, and his anxiety was apparent, but there was no direct evidence linking him to her disappearance. Outside the room, police expanded their search to the resort grounds. They interviewed hotel staff and guests. Jordan Ginahasa, a hotel employee who first noticed Christine's absence, provided a detailed account of what they found when they entered the room. Jason Olamana, the guest next door, reported hearing a loud argument from Christine and Rowan's room the night before. Proctor and his team also checked the resort security footage. They saw Christine and Rowan returning to their room around 10 p.m. on July 12. They were holding hands, and nothing seemed out of the ordinary. However, later footage showed Rowan leaving the room alone around 3 a.m., looking nervous and hurried. He returned about an hour later, his clothes slightly disheveled. The police continued their search along the nearby beaches, fearing that Christine's body might have been washed ashore. They used boats and divers to explore the ocean near the resort but found nothing. The lack of physical evidence made the case even more challenging. Despite the clean crime scene, Detective Proctor felt that something was off. He knew they needed to dig deeper into the lives of Christine and Rowan. As the investigation continued, the police focused on finding any small detail that could lead them to the truth about what happened to Christine Wiley. Rowan Wiley Jr., 33, became the primary suspect in his wife Christine's disappearance. Rowan, a successful businessman from Houston, had charmed many with his good looks and wealth. He and Christine had seemed like the perfect couple, especially on social media, where they posted pictures of their wedding and honeymoon. But as the police dug deeper, a different picture of Rowan began to emerge. Detective Mark Proctor and Officer Angeline QB Martinez started their interrogation of Rowan at the Hilton Maui Resort. Initially, Rowan appeared calm and cooperative, insisting he had no idea what had happened to his wife. He claimed they had gone to bed around 10 p.m. after a romantic evening of sex, but he woke up around 6 a.m. Christine was gone. He assumed she had gone for an early morning swim, something she loved to do. As the questioning continued, Rowan's composure began to crack. Detective Proctor asked about their relationship, and Rowan's answers became defensive. He admitted they had arguments, which he described as normal marital disagreements. However, friends and family told a different story. They said Rowan was controlling and possessive, often isolating Christine from her friends and family. Further investigation revealed troubling details. Christine's sister Miller shared messages where Christine expressed fear and uncertainty about her marriage. She described Rowan's behavior as increasingly erratic. These messages painted a picture of a relationship in turmoil, contrasting sharply with the happy images they projected online. The police also learned about Rowan's financial troubles. Despite his appearance of wealth, he had significant debts. His business was struggling, and he had taken out several large loans. This raised the possibility that Rowan had a motive to harm Christine, perhaps to gain access to her life insurance, or to cover up his financial problems. Detective Proctor asked Rowan about the security footage showing him leaving the room at 3 a.m. Rowan stammered, claiming he went for a walk because he couldn't sleep. His story seemed inconsistent, and his nervous demeanor raised more red flags. Despite his increasingly evasive answers, Rowan stuck to his story. He maintained that he loved Christine and would never harm her. But the more he talked, the more suspicious he seemed. The police decided to keep him under close watch, knowing they needed more evidence to make an arrest. As the investigation into Rowan continued, the police explored other leads, hoping to uncover the truth about what happened to Christine Wiley. Jason Olamana, 31, was the second suspect in the case of Christine Wiley's disappearance. Jason, a Nigerian YouTuber, was staying at the Hilton Maui Resort in the room next to Christine and Rowan. Jason's YouTube channel, filled with travel adventures and extreme sports, had made him somewhat famous. He was outgoing, friendly, and always looking for his next big story. Detective Mark Proctor and Officer Angela and Cutie Pie Martinez brought Jason in for questioning. Jason was cooperative and seemed genuinely concerned about Christine. He told the detectives about several disturbing encounters he had with Rowan during his stay at the resort. Jason recounted how Rowan had approached him several times and asked him for sex, making him feel uncomfortable. On one occasion, Rowan had dropped his underwear and lunged at Jason's genitals, an incident that Jason had reported to the hotel staff. The detectives asked Jason about the night Christine disappeared. He mentioned hearing loud arguing from their room around midnight. He said it sounded intense, with raised voices and slamming doors. Jason couldn't make out the exact words but noted that it lasted for about an hour. He didn't think much of it at the time, assuming it was just a typical argument. Jason also told the detectives that Rowan seemed nervous and agitated the following morning. He saw Rowan pacing back and forth outside the room, checking his phone frequently. When Jason asked if everything was okay, Rowan gave a vague response then quickly walked away. The police found Jason's account credible. He seemed genuinely concerned for Christine and had no apparent motive to harm her. Jason was known for his adventurous spirit, not for any violent behavior. However, they had to consider all possibilities and asked him about his whereabouts during the critical hours. Jason explained that he had been editing videos in his room and had not left until morning. To verify his alibi, the police checked the hotel's Wi-Fi logs, confirming that Jason had been online during the time in question. They also reviewed security footage, which showed Jason entering his room around 10 p.m. and not leaving until 7 a.m. the next day. Despite Jason's disturbing encounters with Rowan, there was no direct evidence linking him to Christine's disappearance. The police continued to investigate other leads, but Jason remained a person of interest due to his proximity and the information he provided. As the investigation progressed, the police were determined to find out the truth and bring justice for Christine Wiley. On July 15, 2012, 3 days after Christine Wiley disappeared, new evidence came to light. It was a sunny morning with clear skies, typical for Hawaii. A beachgoer found something unusual while walking along the shore near the Hilton Maui Resort. She noticed a piece of cloth tangled in the rocks. Upon closer inspection, she realized it was part of a woman's dress. She called the police right away. Detective Mark Proctor and Officer Angela and Cutie Pie Martinez arrived promptly and carefully examined the fabric. It was a torn piece of a floral dress, matching the one Christine was last seen wearing. The discovery reignited hope for finding more clues about her disappearance. The police expanded their search area, focusing on the rocky shoreline and nearby waters. They brought in a team of divers to explore the ocean floor, looking for any additional evidence. The search was painstaking and thorough, with divers scanning every inch of the seabed. They used underwater cameras and metal detectors, hoping to find something that could provide answers. Meanwhile, on the shore, forensic experts analyzed the torn dress piece. They carefully bagged and labeled it, noting its exact location. They checked for any blood stains, fibers, or other traces that could offer more information. The cloth was sent to the lab for further analysis, including tests for DNA and any potential chemical residues. Detective Proctor also revisited the hotel's security footage, focusing on the area around the beach. He noticed a shadowy figure moving near the water around 4 a.m. on the night Christine vanished. Although the footage was grainy, it provided a new lead. The police interviewed hotel guests and staff again, asking if anyone had seen anything suspicious at that time. The investigation took another turn when Officer Martinez received a tip from a local fisherman who reported seeing the man near the water early that morning. The description matched Rowan Wiley. The fisherman said the man appeared to be struggling with something heavy, which he then pushed into the water. With this new information, the police brought Rowan in for further questioning. His earlier calm demeanor had vanished, replaced by visible anxiety. When confronted with the new evidence, Rowan became defensive and evasive, denying any involvement and claiming he was being framed. Its responses raised even more suspicion. As the lab results came in, they confirmed that the torn dress belonged to Christine. The presence of seawater and sand indicated she might have been in the water. This crucial piece of evidence pushed the investigation forward, bringing the police closer to uncovering the truth. Detective Proctor and his team knew they were getting closer. The new evidence provided a clearer picture of what might have happened, and they were determined to solve the mystery of Christine Wiley's disappearance. Danny Chow, 27, was the third suspect in the case of Christine Wiley's disappearance. Danny was a busboy at the Hilton Maui Resort, known for his quiet and introverted nature. He had worked at the resort for 2 years and was often described as a hardworking but reserved individual. However, Danny had a past involving minor drug offenses, specifically marijuana, which made the police take a closer look at him. Detective Mark Proctor and Officer Angela and QT Martinez called Danny in for questioning. Danny seemed nervous but cooperative. He admitted that he had been having a sexual relationship with Rowan Wiley, Christine's husband. This relationship started just 30 minutes after Rowan and Christine arrived at the resort. Danny said Rowan pulled him into a bathroom stall to have sex while Christine was checking in. Danny explained that he was involved with Rowan purely for financial reasons. Danny revealed a critical piece of information. Christine had walked in on him and Rowan having gay sex just hours before she disappeared. He described the encounter as shocking and tense. Christine was visibly upset and stormed out of the room. Danny said that Rowan appeared angry and worried after she left. This revelation added a new layer of complexity to the investigation. The police asked Danny about his whereabouts on the night of Christine's disappearance. Danny stated that he had been working late and then went to his apartment, which was nearby. He claimed he had no involvement in Christine's disappearance and was only concerned about keeping his job. To verify Danny's alibi, the police checked the resort's employee logs and interviewed his coworkers. They confirmed that Danny had finished his shift around midnight. Security footage showed him leaving the resort and heading to his apartment. There was no evidence to suggest he had returned to the resort during the critical hours when Christine went missing. Despite Danny's troubling relationship with Rowan, the police found no direct evidence linking him to Christine's disappearance. His story about the encounter with Christine provided a possible motive for Rowan, but did not implicate Danny directly. His nervous demeanor during questioning was noted, but it could have been due to fear of losing his job and not necessarily guilt. As the investigation continued, the police kept Danny under surveillance but focused more on Rowan, whose behavior and inconsistencies were becoming more suspicious. The new information about the encounter between Christine, Rowan, and Danny added crucial context to the case, helping the police piece together the events leading up to Christine's disappearance. Detective Proctor and his team were determined to uncover the truth and bring justice to Christine Wiley. On July 20, 2012, the police identified Rowan Wiley as the murderer of his wife, Christine. Rowan, 33, was a successful businessman from Houston. He had a charming personality and came from a wealthy family. However, beneath his polished exterior, Rowan had a controlling and possessive streak. Friends and family had noticed his erratic behavior leading up to the honeymoon. The motive for the murder became clear as the police pieced together the evidence. Christine had discovered Rowan's secret affair with Danny Chow, a busboy at the resort. Rowan, desperate to hide his secret, killed Christine to prevent her from exposing him. The couple had argued the night she disappeared, and Rowan's anger and fear led him to commit the crime. On the morning of July 13, Rowan was seen on security footage leaving their room at 3 a.m., looking nervous and hurried. He returned an hour later, his clothes disheveled. This was when the police believed he disposed of Christine's body in the ocean. The torn piece of her dress found on the shore confirmed this theory. The arrest took place in the early afternoon of July 20. Detective Mark Proctor and Officer Angela and QT Martinez, along with a team of officers, approached Rowan at the Hilton Maui Resort. Rowan was sitting by the pool, pretending to read a magazine. When the officers approached him, he seemed startled but quickly tried to compose himself. "Rowan Wiley, you dirty dog, you are under arrest for the murder of Christine Wiley," Detective Proctor announced. Rowan's face turned pale, and he started to protest, but the officers quickly cuffed him. He was visibly shaken, realizing that his secrets had caught up with him. As Rowan was led away, the resort guests watched in shock. News of the arrest spread quickly. Christine's family, who had been waiting anxiously for any news, were both relieved and devastated. Miller, Christine's sister, broke down in tears upon hearing that her sister's murderer had been caught. The family had suspected Rowan, but hoped they were wrong. The arrest brought a mix of emotions to Christine's friends and family. They were glad that justice was being served but heartbroken over the loss of Christine. The case had attracted some minor local attention, with local news outlets covering the story. People across the state were shocked by the tragic end of what had seemed like a fairy tale romance. With Rowan in custody, the police prepared to bring the case to trial, hoping to ensure that Christine's murderer would be held accountable for his actions. The trial of Rowan Whaley began on October 10, 2013. The courtroom was packed with reporters, family members, and curious onlookers. The case had drawn national attention, with news outlets covering every detail. The prosecution was led by Sam Philby, a 35-year-old seasoned prosecutor known for her tough but fair approach. Philby presented a strong case, detailing the events leading up to Christine's disappearance and the evidence pointing to Rowan. Philby argued that Rowan had a clear motive to kill his wife. She explained how Christine had discovered his affair with Danny Chow and threatened to expose him. Philby showed the security footage of Rowan leaving his room at 3 a.m. and returning an hour later looking disheveled. She also presented the torn piece of Christine's dress found on the shore, which matched the dress she was last seen wearing. The defense was led by Landon Ben Sefer, a 56-year-old defense attorney known for his smooth-talking and persuasive arguments. Ben Sefer claimed that there was no solid evidence directly linking Rowan to Christine's death. He suggested that Christine might have drowned accidentally while swimming early in the morning, as she loved the ocean. Ben Sefer argued that Rowan was being unfairly targeted due to his relationship with Danny. The trial lasted 3 weeks with emotional testimonies from Christine's family and friends. Miller Wiley, Christine's sister, gave a tearful statement about her sister's fears and concerns regarding her marriage to Rowan. The jury was visibly moved by her testimony, and it added a personal touch to the prosecution's case. On November 1, 2013, the jury reached a verdict. Rowan Whaley was found guilty of first-degree murder. The courtroom erupted in a mix of relief and sorrow. Christine's family hugged each other, crying tears of both joy and sadness. They had finally received justice for Christine, but the pain of losing her remained. The judge sentenced Rowan to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Rowan showed little emotion as the sentence was read, staring blankly ahead. His defense team announced plans to appeal the verdict, but the overwhelming evidence made it unlikely that the decision would be overturned. The sentencing brought a sense of closure to Christine's family and friends. While they still mourned her loss, they were grateful that her killer was being held accountable. The trial had been a painful but necessary step in their journey to heal and move forward. The case of Christine Wiley remained in the public eye for months, a tragic reminder of how secrets and lies can destroy lives. After the trial, life slowly began to return to normal for those involved, but the impact of Christine Wiley's murder lingered. Rowan Whaley started his life sentence at the maximum security prison in Honolulu. He spent his days in solitary confinement, away from other inmates. His appeals were quickly dismissed, and he became a forgotten figure, his once charming personality now a distant memory. Christine's family tried to rebuild their lives. Miller Wiley, Christine's sister, struggled the most. She had been very close to Christine, and her loss left a void that could never be filled. Miller sought therapy to help cope with her grief and channeled her pain into starting a nonprofit organization called Christine's Hope. The organization aimed to support victims of domestic abuse and raise awareness about the warning signs. Miller appeared on talk shows like Good Morning America to share her story and spread the word about her mission. Detective Mark Proctor and Officer Angela and Cutie Pie Martinez received commendations for their work on the case. Their dedication and thorough investigation were crucial in bringing Rowan to justice. Proctor continued his work with the Maui Police Department, becoming a mentor to younger officers. Martinez, inspired by the case, pursued a degree in forensic science to further her career in law enforcement. Danny Chow, the busboy sexually involved with Rowan, faced a challenging aftermath. Although he was not charged with any crime, the media attention made it difficult for him to find work. He eventually moved to the mainland, and changed his name, trying to leave the past behind. He found solace in working with a local charity that helped troubled youth, hoping to make a positive difference in their lives. Jason Olamana, the Nigerian YouTuber who had reported Rowan's disturbing behavior, returned to his travels. He posted a video on his channel about the experience, emphasizing the importance of speaking up when witnessing suspicious activities. His followers grew in number, appreciating his bravery and commitment to truth. The Hilton Maui Resort also felt the impact of the crime. The management implemented stricter security measures and offered counseling services to staff affected by the incident. They worked to restore the resort's reputation, ensuring that guests felt safe and secure. In the end, while justice was served, the shadow of Christine's tragic death affected everyone involved. Her memory lived on through the efforts of her loved ones, and her story became a reminder of the importance of vigilance and the impact of secrets.